Welcome back to Arcane Answers. I'm your host, Lair, and with me, as always, are the spectacular Amanda and Sarah. And today we are joined by an extra guest, and that is Claire.
Hello.
How are you ladies doing today?
Doing well. How are you?
Good. I think we're going to get a lot of that today. As a 4-person episode, we might talk over a little bit, so I hope that people at home will bear with us. And Amanda, did you want to talk about your trip that you're on, or anything to that effect? Why you're with a special guest?
Yeah, so I came up to Washington to visit my family and soak in some wonderful, wonderful Washington weather that is definitely not as humid as Oklahoma. And we realized earlier we're making a triangle across the country. Larry in Maine, me in Washington, and Sarah in Oklahoma.
That's right. We are now the Illuminati.
Ooh.
But I do want to jump into it. Today we are talking about cursed objects, and everybody's heard of like the Annabelle doll, or maybe you even have something that you felt unlucky, like a cursed object or knickknack in your house, and you're like, that thing needs to be disposed of. And that is what we're talking about today. Like, what turns a regular knickknack into a cursed item, and you could believe that it's infused with like a malevolent spirit, or just unlucky, like a magnet for misfortune. So, how does an object get such a dreadful reputation? And so, wow, how does an object get such a dreadful reputation? Stories vary. The purpose of hexing and vexing with powerful magic these items is an option. A lot of other belief systems, like the Christian belief system, also can believe that they're demon possessed. That's kind of fun. We are. I don't know. Are we going to be touching on any Ed and Lorraine Warren stuff?
I don't think mine is. I don't think mine is.
That's good. That's good. Because they've been done to death. They've made major motion pictures about these. Well, look into them if you don't know what I'm talking about.
They're also really awful people.
Yeah, that's why I was telling them to look into them.
Gotcha.
If we haven't already said that on here. But the Christians believe that a lot of things that aren't from God, they're from Satan, and so anything not of God is dangerous. And so a lot of that explains like other people's beliefs. And so like what may be a good luck doll to some is considered a possessed object to another. And we're not going to get into too much of that today. In fact, I'm going to skip over a lot and jump right into the petrified witch of Wookey Hole. And now Wookey Hole is a terribly unfortunate name, because I don't know if it's evocative for you, but it is for me. But that aside, it's England's ancient curse. So we're going to jump across over to England, where the spooky Wookey Hole is. The caves
That's
are in
so
Somerset.
awful.
I know, it is awful, but that's what it's called. Wookey.
Oh, wow. I can't wait to hear all about it.
Well, it's in Somerset, and it's ancient limestone caverns that have like 4,500 years of human history in them. So, no, 45,000 years. I apologize. 45,000 years. Can you even imagine that as an American?
No.
Just collecting ghosts and bad juju.
Yeah, exactly. So
Demons.
Demons, yeah. So the temperatures and formations there add to like the mysterious vibe. There's a whole like setup around it now. It's like a tourist spot, but the most famous legend is nearly 1,000 years old, with a chilling tale of a witch of Wookey Hole. Oh my god! Hang on, let me see.
It's never gonna get old.
I'm gonna try this again with a straight face, and this is staying in. Okay. The chilling tale of the Witch of the Wookey Hole. It's an old woman who lived deep in the caverns until villagers blamed her for everything. They called in Father Bernard from Glastonbury Abbey, at Glastonbury Abbey, and he tracked her to the cave entrance. And after an argument, she fled deeper, despite the warnings of a gateway to hell from all the villagers. Father Bernard pursued her deeper into the chamber. And so the first legend says the river Axewater sprinkled it and heard a blood-curdling scream followed by silence. And he found the witch turned to stone. Her petrified form is supposedly still there, with features like her bonnet, chin eerily preserved. Some say her dog was petrified too. I mean, I don't know what her dog would have done to deserve that.
Good Lord. It was her familiar.
They're familiar. Okay. Yeah. But like the idea of this folklore and the actual history is a little bit dubious because they did find a human skeleton in there, but it turned out to be male. And so that's the only thing they're like, I don't think that there was really a witch. But people believe that putting cursed items into the cave cures you of their effects. So like you can go and get rid of a cursed item by shoving it into the Wookey Hole.
So wait, ultimate explanation for it being a male skeleton is that it was actually the friar, and then the witch went around and spread the tale that he had vanquished her so people would leave her alone.
Oh, okay. At first I was like, she pretended to be him, like put on a fake mustache. Was like,
No.
oh boy, did I get that witch.
No, she's like, the witch is dead. Oh, yay, we're all
Nothing to
free
see here.
Don't come back. Goodbye.
Just going around town. Like, aren't you that witch? No, she died.
She's wearing a mustache.
Yeah. We can clearly tell you're a woman in a fake mustache. No, my name is Reginald. Yes. Purveyor of finest ointments. That's how you get in trouble again, is selling makeshift cures. Okay.
Snake oil.
Mm-hmm. Sure. And then people are like, you're a witch.
No, I'm Reginald.
And then the last thing I'm going to touch on today is the infamous Dybbuk box, Dybbuk box. It's an unassuming wine cabinet that became a sensation in like the 2000s. I don't know if you guys remember this at all. It was on eBay. The seller was Kevin Manis, and he claimed disturbing incidents post-purchase. Subsequent owners have also reported similar terrors like nightmares, shadow figures, dread, and the legend blames the Dybbuk, a malevolent Jewish spirit, which is interesting. Like, I don't know if any of these people were Jewish or they're just like, yeah, it's a Dybbuk. You know how they're always getting around. But
how old is this thing?
I don't know. I think it's just from the 2000s. I don't know how old the box is supposed to be, but the story is not that old. But
manufactured in 1993. It's a malevolent Jewish spirit. What?
Yeah, exactly. Like, guaranteed one Dybbuk in this box. But anyway, it gained fame from TV appearances, and it's now in Zach Bargan's Haunted Museum in Las Vegas. Now, that is something we should really look into, is the Haunted Museum in Las Vegas. That might be worth a trip. Maybe we'll do that as a spot.
Zach Baggins.
Mm-hmm.
He has an entire show that's been going on for like 15 years. He also is a questionable character.
Oh, no, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, only in the research that I come across him. I didn't like look too far into it. I was like, yeah, Zach Baggins, Bilbo Baggins, whatever. I gotta get this thing.
Yeah, he was dating Holly Madison.
I don't know who that is.
The Playboy
One of the
bunny?
Playboy bunnies. Yeah.
How do you guys know this? Are you up on the whole Hugh Hefner thing?
No, there was
I am not.
a reality show for a while.
Oh my god.
And it's not that I watched it a lot. It's just that if you watched it once, it was seared into your brain as a train wreck.
100%.
I don't think you walk away from that without having to get some sort of penicillin.
At the very least.
Like, I watched this show and now I'm itchy. I don't know. So I didn't know that about this fellow. What is? Okay, I'm so you get me today. You get me sidetracked.
Sorry.
No, that's all right. But anyway, so it's journey from the eBay Museum to the media star shows modern culture turning cursed objects in entertainment. Again, multiple cursed object museums and places in the United States, but I don't know personally how to get rid of them, and so I'm going to turn this over to you guys and let me know what you have.
Okay, so I am going to take you to Key West, Florida, where there is another one of those fun little haunted museums. So the subject of my haunting...
Key West, Florida?
Yes.
Sweet.
The subject of my haunting today is a doll. In the late 1800s, early 1900s, the Steiff Company created a doll standing approximately 40 inches tall. So for everybody, like a 4-year-old.
Is this a sailor boy?
He is stuffed with wood wool, which is called Excelsior. When he was created, his face was painted with features that looked like a jester. Around 1904, the doll was gifted to a young boy named Robert Eugene Otto. Young Robert dressed his doll in one of his sailor suits, which the doll still wears today. Do you know who this is?
I do know who this is, but I'm not going to ruin this for anyone else. Robert, okay, so like, I'm going to jump in just real quick. All right, so Annabelle, right? Huge movies and everything. They had to take a Raggedy Ann doll and make it look creepy for the movies because otherwise it's just a Raggedy Ann doll and people are like, that's so scary. Robert, on the other hand,
no help.
It's freaky looking, like a coconut mixed with a shrunken apple. It is.
Yeah.
Why would you ever give that to your child?
No, it was the early 1900s.
I guess so.
No one knows.
So it was already the stuff of nightmares.
Oh, yeah.
Correct.
It's worth a Google. If you don't do anything else, like forget everybody I told you to Google earlier, look up Robert.
So when Robert's mother asked him what the doll's name was, he told his mom that the doll's name was Robert and that he would now be called Eugene or Gene.
Okay.
So, yeah. So this is how Robert the doll got his name.
I love that. Like, the doll's talking to him, and all right, here's the thing. I like your name. You're now named Eugene. Or Gene. I don't care. I'm Robert.
You can't be Robert. That was a really good voice. So I might need that energy here in a little bit. Same gravelly voice. So things started out normally, you know. Eugene loved his new doll, Robert, and he would take him everywhere with him. But when Eugene would misbehave, he would blame it on Robert. You know, normal kid stuff. This quickly turned into strange and alarming events involving Robert. Eugene's parents would often hear Eugene talking to Robert. Seems pretty normal, right? A kid talking to their doll. Well, the parents say that they would hear different voices. So they would hear their son Eugene say something to Robert. And then Robert would respond in a deeper, more gravelly voice that a 4-year-old could not conjure up.
I love that.
Oh, no. Absolutely not. No.
Yep.
Now listen, Eugene, this is why. I'm telling you, we need hobo blood. Like, I wonder what Robert's playing in there.
So, you know, obviously the parents would check on him and it would just be Eugene and Robert sitting on his bed or on the floor playing. And, you know, Eugene would be really just like, why are you guys bugging me? I'm just hanging out with my buddy Robert. Yeah. So the parents also reported that the doll's expression would change when the parents would talk in front of Robert. So just
I
imagine this creepy doll, and at its prime, it's jester makeup, just frowning at you after it had just been smiling.
How did that kid end up keeping that doll? Like
I
that
know. Again, these are the people who gave him the doll.
Yeah, I would be, making a new doll and to switch it out, because obviously you can't just steal your kid's doll or they panic.
Mhm.
I mean, I draw the line at haunted dolls, honestly.
Well, I mean, it's easy because he's a sailor. You're just like, well, Robert had to ship out, and guess what? Teddy came in. He's so much better.
Oh my
And
god,
not
like the
cursed.
predecessor to Elf on a Shelf.
Yeah.
Ugh, yeah. So funny that you say Teddy, because the same company that made Robert was also the first manufacturer of teddy bears.
That's crazy.
All right, where was I? Okay, so you think that's it, right? Like, he's creepy and he ended up in a museum. Not so fast. So eventually Eugene grew up, he moved out, he got married. When Eugene's parents died, Eugene and his wife, Anne or Annie, not sure, moved into the Otto home, where Eugene was reunited with Robert. Eugene would have Robert sit at the dinner table with them.
Oh.
Yes, when they ate, Eugene would require for his wife to set out a plate for Robert so that he could have dinner with them. When they would go to bed at night, Eugene would put Robert in a chair in their bedroom. After some time of this, the wife told Eugene, hey man, this doll's creepy. You gotta lock it in the attic. I'm not doing this anymore. So Eugene did. Some people that visited their house, because they had, they hosted a lot of parties, they were artists. Some people that would visit the house would claim that they would hear giggling and footsteps from the attic.
Oh, he liked it up there.
I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, he's giggling.
There was no children in the house. There shouldn't be giggling. We've talked about this before.
Right. It's true. And
I feel like all of that was grounds for divorce. All of it.
if there's
100%.
giggling going on where there shouldn't be, you leave. You
Yeah.
just leave. You're like,
You
know,
just light it on fire. Burn it down.
right. You're like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
you don't, because then you release whatever demon was trapped in the cursed object. Don't do it.
That's fine. That's fine. So after Eugene's death, his wife moved out of the home, but left Robert locked in the attic. The house was sold to a woman named Myrtle Reuter, which, try to say that 5 times fast. She was now the companion of Robert the doll. In 1994, she donated Robert to the Fort East Martorello Museum in Key West, Florida. After Robert arrived, the staff said that there was a noticeable shift of energy in the museum. They claimed that they would have Robert in one spot and then they would leave for the night, or they'd go on lunch break or whatever. And when they came back, Robert was in a completely different spot.
yeah.
He was eventually put into a glass exhibit case in the museum where he resides today. It said that electronics and cameras will malfunction around him. Visitors and staff of the museum say that if you disrespect the doll or say something offhanded about him while in the museum, bad luck will follow you.
Well, I'd like to apologize in advance or I guess actually just apologize for my comments on Robert's appearance earlier.
Yeah. So funny. So one of the visitors in particular claimed that he had said something offhanded about Robert, that he was weird looking or creepy or whatever to his girlfriend. After the visitor and his girlfriend left, they immediately both lost their wallets, their passports, their IDs, everything that they needed in order to make their flight home, making it almost impossible for them to fly home. So in return...
Wait, so they weren't from America?
I don't know if I didn't look that far into it. It could have been...
Well, I'm just curious if Robert speaks other languages, apparently.
Oh, that's a great question. Well, I was thinking some people just use their passport to fly back before you had to have the real ID.
Oh, yeah.
So this has happened to multiple people that have been around Robert. So now visitors can send letters of apologies as well as gifts to Robert. and they take the letters and they hang them up around Robert, and apparently the bad luck is broken at that point.
Wow.
Yes.
Robert, I know this doll from like other things, and he has always had this vibe to me where I'm like, I will make fun of other things, but Robert, you're all right in my book.
Yep.
Just
Good old
leave-
Bobby the doll. Mm-mm.
Yeah. Oh, don't give him a nickname.
I mean, maybe he likes it. Or maybe he just likes his given name. It's fine. I have the address. I'll send an apology note. But there are various... Oh, son of a... there are various speculations on how the doll became possessed. One of which was there was an enslaved woman that was, quote-unquote, working at the auto home. Some of the sources talk about how Eugene's father and this woman had a relationship, and then when it was ultimately broken off or whatever, the woman took the doll and cursed it so that it would inflict harm on the Otto family.
But that wouldn't explain why it has the voice of Tom Waits.
I mean, if you think about it, it just sounds like, in the early 1900s, to have a reason to get rid of one of your quote-unquote maids. She cursed a doll. She's got to go.
Yeah. I mean, I think the affair with the husband might be a good reason, too.
I mean, I agree. Robert now sits in a museum in Key West, and you can go visit him and ask to take photos with him. Apparently, if you have to ask his permission to take a photo with him, and if he tilts his head, that's a yes.
What?
Yeah.
There's a real cursed object. Like, if there's an
Right.
animated doll in there, then you have proof.
Yes.
So we live in a magic world, then.
I want to
Yes,
go.
we do.
I want to see it.
I have
Also,
no
you can
desires to
pick
go
up-
to Florida.
That's fair. You can pick up replicas of Robert the doll at the gift shop if you are so inclined.
I'm not taking that home with me, no. I just want to see it in a glass case. And I want to say
Yes.
extraordinarily complimentary things about his jaunty sailor outfit.
They're
I sent
making
a photo.
replicas. I did not-
Yes, they have replicas that you can buy in the gift shop.
Here,
Which
take
total
home our cursed doll.
Yeah, total side note and not related at all. Lara, I'm gonna need your address.
Yeah, no.
Don't worry, I have it.
Nice.
That's not happening. Not at all. I am not making
Not
my own
happening.
cursed museum, especially with that particular doll.
That's fair. Anyways, that is
right.
all I have for Robert the doll.
And Claire, you're up next. Would you like to share what cursed objects you have found?
Okay. I picked the crying boy painting.
Ooh, that's a good.
This painting is a part of a 65 painting series.
Mhm.
They were all done in the 1950s, and they were all based off of children from World War II. This particular painting was set to show up in homes.
Just like show up?
Nope.
You could do this.
I got this.
Yeah.
It was found in the rubble of many burned down homes, completely untouched, completely unscorched. This was first written about in a tabloid in London. The Hall family had shared their story with this tabloid, and after this story was published, hundreds of people came forward with their own stories about this particular painting and the similar stories that were in this article. Well, one reader went as far as to throw this painting onto a bonfire. And
Rookie mistake.
and leave it for an hour to burn it, to get it out of his house. Well, when he came back, he had discovered that the fire had not touched the painting, had burned everything around it, but the painting was untouched.
Just like, it's an asbestos painting. What do you expect?
This particular tabloid wrote an article a couple of days later telling anybody that they could send their paintings in to, and the tabloid would get rid of them. Well, over 2,500 copies of this particular painting were sent in to this newsroom.
Good Lord!
Yeah. It filled offices. There were stacks of these paintings up to 12 feet high in these offices. And on October 31st, 1985, they decided to take all of these paintings out to just a dirt road with the fire department's help and light these paintings on fire. The unburnable paintings they lit on fire.
Because that worked so well the last time.
And what happened?
They were able to destroy all of the unburnable paintings.
Nice.
Uh-huh.
Hundreds of stories were printed in this tabloid about this painting.
Did they come back?
Did they?
Were there more paintings found
Was
later?
there any that didn't burn?
Not that I could find. They were able to destroy all of them successfully, but there are still thousands of copies of this particular painting that still exists today.
That's crazy. I'd heard of it, but I didn't know the end.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that they probably burned the paintings, late 2019?
They burned these in 19...
I
on
see what you're
Halloween.
saying.
You know,
Burned 'em
late
on Halloween.
2019, when the entire world decided to light on fire.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I picked it up.
Thanks.
And that's how we got COVID.
Yeah. Oh man, that is crazy. Like I like I was saying, like I'd heard of the houses burning down and the paintings not burning, but I didn't know that like they went out and received so many and then just burned them, and they're like, well,
Story doesn't track.
yeah.
Well, it
Turns
could,
out they can burn.
or, just under the watchful eye of the fire department. If anyone knows how to burn things, it's those who also put it out. So,
That is true.
I don't
'cause you
know.
gotta know. You don't know?
Well, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I trust like some guy from the English countryside being like, "Well, I threw it on a bonfire and it didn't burn. It's amazing."
That's a terrible, terrible English accent.
Governor. I didn't say I had a good English accent. I actually didn't preface it at all. I was just saying. You know,
I just did it.
I was admiring it, is all.
yeah.
Oh.
The missus and I.
Well, as a palate cleanser, I decided to go with how to lift curses off of cursed objects.
All right.
Nice.
So if you happen to find yourself in possession of an object that brings bad luck, has negative energy, makes your house burn down, makes your hair fall out, whatever, depending on the material of the object, there are different ways to take care of these things. So for items like jewels or crystals, you would want to cleanse those with sunlight or moonlight and salt. In fact, salt is the culinary cure-all that I had no idea was so useful when dealing with demonic entities, which I should
That
have.
came up in our
Yeah.
That came up in our fairy episode too.
It did, yeah, but it goes a little deeper. So, if you find yourself with a curse, like on you personally, salt baths are one way to help mitigate the curse on you. But
Does
for
Epsom
items,
salt work?
yeah, supposedly.
All right.
I know, right? We just naturally constantly decurse ourselves. And then
I do it at least once a week.
right.
I hit middle age and I started decursing myself.
It's the secret to a long and happy life.
All right.
If you're dealing with a soft object that would be ruined by completely submerging in salt, you can do a saltwater bath on that. But for items that are, say, something like Robert the Doll, you would want to bury that bad boy in an entire bucket of salt. Overnight, maybe a week, depending on how strong the curse is. You just, go with your gut on that, but leave it in the bucket of salt. Here's the important part. When you remove that cursed object from that bucket of salt, I'm going to need you to dispose of that salt because no one needs cursed seasoning away from you.
Oh no. Could you
we don't
you
take
imagine
it back. No.
Yep, accidentally seasoning your chicken with cursed salt.
Well, see, now there's an aspect that you could do with those museums, right? You're like, hey, I have all this cursed salt. You could sell it on your cursed pretzels.
Haunted seasoning. Penzies has gotten wild.
Yeah.
Okay, and then another potion.
I'm just picturing an Etsy store of like artisanal cursed salts.
Right.
Oh, did I share my screen with you? I was getting one started right now.
No.
Oh, your Etsy. Another potion for lifting curses off of things is using hyssop infused water. There's a very specific method of preparation, which is to stir it 9 times clockwise, 9 times counterclockwise, and then strain it twice, doing the same sort of 9 times counterclockwise and clockwise. Then you sprinkle the infusion counterclockwise or around the item while reciting a spell or prayer.
You're giving witchcraft instructions now. I love it.
Where do you think I got it? I was looking at all of the various ways to take curses, like lift curses.
I'm gonna need you to bring those notes home for me.
I got you, sister. All right, and then another...
Do I have to do this with like 11 naked people or 11 other naked people?
No, but smoke cleansing. So this involves using fragrant sage or cedar smudge sticks or incense sticks. This recipe also called for doing 9 red candles lit counterclockwise on a Tuesday and calling upon the Archangel Camael. It was very elaborate.
Really, on a Tuesday?
On a Tuesday, because that is that particular angel's day of the week, I guess.
That's interesting.
To get rid of a cursed Ouija board, you're going to want to holy water that bad boy, cut it into 7 pieces, and bury that one on a Sunday.
Oh, wow. Like Solomon Grundy there.
Right. And then burying cursed objects in a graveyard, if you're completely done with them and you don't want to try to salvage them anymore, that is a perfectly acceptable thing to do. Apparently, the dead kind of nullify the negative energy.
Oh, I think it would be the consecrated ground, but
it could be that too. It's just the lack of like the energy is nulled in a graveyard, I guess.
That seems rude. If you're doing it on someone's grave, it seems rude. But I guess if it's like in the corner,
yeah, like we're not digging up grandma and replacing her with the cursed object. Like, just find a nice unoccupied spot.
Yeah, you're like, oh look, here's a French German. I'll just bury the Ouija board there.
Why are you like this? So burning is never advised or a very last resort, because when you burn the object, it is thought to release the negative energy or demon, depending on your school of thought. And at that point, it's more free to attack you anywhere, or can cling to another object, or you can become possessed. So it's better to just leave cursed objects undestructed.
That is okay. So don't destroy the cursed object.
Correct. Nightmare. Except for a Ouija board, which apparently if you douse it with holy water, you can cut it into 7 pieces and you just bury the pieces around.
So are there... Okay. That just weirds me out, like knowing that somebody's out there just burying Ouija boards with 7 pieces of Ouija board.
Yeah.
Like you're just hiking around and then you're like, this one just says goodbye.
Well, it definitely adds some invention and geocaching.
Yeah. Open it up. It's Robert inside this.
That has to be a pretty big box.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. That was a weird fad for a while. I think we should do that. I think we should do occult geocaching.
Oh, that would be
That's
so
a
much
great
fun.
idea.
Where you
Just
like
scare
leave a
the crap out of
crystal and then, someone puts a voodoo doll in there or something.
I'm in.
And artisanal salts.
Yeah. A
feel like
bag of
I'm
Epsom salt.
I feel like our brother-in-law does geocaching. Is that accurate?
I think you're correct.
Oh,
Hear it. So now that you have all your cursed objects securely encased in salt, join us next time as we encourage you to go with the stranger as we talk about the third man. No?
If you have any third man stories, please give us a call at
207-591-4443. Okay.
doodly doodly doo.
Yeah.